Meanwhile, Iran is reportedly closely watching global conflicts unfold. It's learning from them reportedly, adapting and accordingly preparing. And at the center of this strategic shift lies one main battlefield, the Russia-Ukraine war. According to a Financial Times report, in the run-up to the weeks-long war with Israel and the United States, Iran's military establishment systematically studied the Russia-Ukraine war. Iran reportedly closely tracked how Ukraine kept its defense production running under pressure, reportedly, how it deployed low-cost, mass-produced drones often built using 3D printing, reportedly, as well as the need for mobile and agile combat units. And as per the report, the Iranian commanders in defense journals spoke about the Russia-Ukraine war in reshaping their thinking, in which they basically highlighted the growing role of AI, small drones, and advanced technologies like quantum and nanosystems. In future wars, Iran has reportedly already started updating its military textbooks, in fact, and training methods based on these lessons. Iran's focus is reportedly clear. Modern warfare will be fast, tech-driven, and drone-heavy.
انهدام اهداف هوایی متقاطع روز ضد ناوشکن
At the same time, based on learnings from the Russia-Ukraine war, Iranian military writings revealing concerns over weak forward planning, reportedly, gaps in preparedness for emerging threats, and the urgent need to recruit skilled specialists, also new weapons, reportedly. The Iranian commanders reportedly pushing for reforms in military exercises and demand investments in cutting-edge systems. From drones and lasers to space-based platforms, there is also a push reportedly to rebuild Iran's aging air force, including plans to acquire advanced Su-35 fighter jets from Russia. Russia, remember, has been extensively using Iran's Shahid suicide drones against Ukraine. That battlefield partnership has likely given Tehran real-time insights into modern warfare, insights it likely used as far as its own military planning is concerned. Beyond strategy, the Iranian defense journals also shedding light on potential issues in military hospitals, reportedly, concerns over troop morale, all based on learnings from the Russia-Ukraine war. And the thing is, Iran is not the only one that is using the Russia-Ukraine battlefield as a playbook for military planning. The president of Ukraine has recently forged a 10-year defense and security agreements with Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, reportedly to exchange battlefield-tested expertise in return for financial aid and fuel. So the strategy is perhaps clear. Iran is using the Russia-Ukraine war to try and replicate its military playbook, it seems, refine its tactics, and also prepare for wars. Shifting focus for now, as the world is gripped by a spate of conflicts, every country in a way seeking to bolster its defense? However, a new claim has put the UK's military in a rather awkward position. Speaking at an event, former UK Defence Secretary George Robertson had said that the country's defence ministry has lost track of military veterans whom they intend to recall at a time of national danger. As per Robertson, who also served as the NATO Secretary General in the past, the UK maintains a strategic reserve of about 95,000 former soldiers and officials and officers, beg your pardon. But officials have failed to maintain a full record of their contact details, reportedly. Why is this significant? Under UK's law, all former army officials can be recalled for military duty until the age of 65. And UK's Defence Ministry maintains contact with military personnel in the first 6 years after their retirement from service. However, reports suggest that the practice of maintaining contact with all veterans liable for recall fell by the wayside after the end of the Cold War. And last week, Robertson accused UK's leaders of showing a corrosive complacency, quote unquote, towards defence and putting the country in peril. In fact, he alleged that the UK Prime Minister was failing to adequately fund defence. However, the UK Prime Minister rebutted the claims in the Parliament. Listen in.
The responsibility is to keep the British people safe, and that is a duty I take seriously. That is why I don't agree with his comments. Last February, that was 7 months after taking office, I took the decision to increase defence spending from 2.3 to 2.6%, paid for by a difficult decision on overseas aid.
In January this year, UK's head of armed forces had told the Parliamentary Defence Committee that his country is not as ready as it needs to be for a full-scale conflict. Not just that. He reportedly told the UK Prime Minister that the Defence Ministry is facing a €20 billion shortfall in funding for the next 4 years.
The Vice Chairman.
And with the world closely watching what's unfolding in West Asia, no breakthrough right now is visible, with the Iran-US ceasefire set to expire in just less than 48 hours. While US President Donald Trump claims that the talks will resume on Tuesday, Tehran is yet to confirm that. And amid all of that uncertainty, conflicting reports are emerging of when the US Vice President J.D. Vance and members of his delegation will be arriving in Islamabad. A day earlier, Trump accused Iran of violating the ceasefire by opening fire at ships in the Strait of Hormuz, while announcing that his representatives will reach Islamabad on Monday evening. The US president repeated his threat against Iran. He said, I'm quoting, "We are offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the US is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran." As per the New York Post, the U.S. delegation is likely to reach Pakistan within a few hours. However, other media reports suggesting that they are expected to depart the U.S. on Tuesday. Iran, though, has denied any plan for talks. It also expressed a lack of trust in America's diplomatic overtures, citing its Hormuz blockade and attack on an Iranian ship. Differences between the two sides remain unresolved at the same time. While Trump wants Iran to give up enriched uranium, Tehran has ruled out that possibility. Listen to this now.
As of now, while I am at your service, we have no plans for the next round of negotiation, and no decision has been made in this regard.
However, Pakistan is already preparing for the talks and has beefed up security. Entry into Islamabad's red zone has been suspended. All public and private offices and schools in the area have been told to adopt a work-from-home arrangement. Roads around the hotel there, the likely venue of the talks, have also been closed with barbed wire. So that's what's been happening on the ground there. In another development, Pakistan's Interior Minister met the acting American envoy at the US Embassy in Islamabad to discuss the second round of talks with Iran. Similarly, he also met Iran's envoy to Pakistan to discuss security and logistical arrangements. As per reports, Pakistan Army Chief also spoke to Trump and stressed that the US blockade of Iran's ports is a hurdle to the talks. Now, what exactly are the possibilities that the world is looking at? If the negotiations collapse, what are the scenarios? A blockade might be in the offing in the Red Sea as well. That's also a possibility. While Iran has already shut the Strait of Hormuz, the Houthis, remember, have threatened to shut Bab el-Mandeb, one of the world's most critical shipping choke points, as it handles around 10% of the global seaborne oil trade. The strait's potential closure will add to the global energy shock. The question also is it really in America's interest to escalate the situation? As per Tasneem news agency, Tehran may target the pipeline carrying Saudi oil to Yanbu and UAE's oil export terminal at the Fujairah. If the war resumes again, this may also have devastating consequences for the global economy. And amid all this, Joe Kent, who resigned as the director of the U.S. National Counter-Terrorism Center in protest against the Iran war, advised Trump to follow in ex-President Ronald Reagan's footsteps. He urged the U.S. president to recognize that there is no way to force a positive outcome and leave West Asia. Reagan, remember, chose this path in 1984 by withdrawing the U.S. forces from Lebanon after 241 military personnel died in a suicide bombing. Meanwhile, it has now emerged that the U.S. Navy is using specialized robotic systems to destroy mines planted in the Strait of Hormuz. And as per reports, the U.S. is using a floating sonar system to scan the seabed for mines and is able to patrol areas up to 100 feet at a time. Besides this, it is also reportedly using underwater drones, which can be deployed from small boats to scan for mines. So that's what's happening on that front. The thing is, these technologies may help clear Hormuz faster, as opposed to the Navy clear the strategic waterway in a matter of days, as opposed to weeks or months, which the traditional methods would require.